What is going on, everybody? It is Jackson from JD Baseball Show, and today I have a very special interview with 2010 MLB All-Star, 13-year MLB veteran, and recently retired pitcher Trevor Cahill. Trevor, thank you so much for taking time of your day to do this interview, and congrats on your recent retirement. How's your summer going? And thank you once again.
Thanks for having me. It's been pretty good. Just back with the family, and I mean, I've been with my family for 2 years. Got a week and a half break, but I'm back at it, back to being a dad.
It's great to hear that. Now, I do want to get into some questions about your career, and I want to start where it all started in the major leagues in 2009. I was 5 years old at the time, but actually, your debut was the first big league game I ever attended. And I want to ask you about your major league debut in 2009 with the Oakland Athletics. It's a two-part question. What was it like walking out to that big league mound for the first time? And actually, I have pulled up right here the starting lineup for the Oakland Athletics for your major league debut. Can you name the one through nine of your major league debut?
Not in order, but Suzuki was catching.
Yes.
It was Barton or Giambi at first. Ellis at second. Orlando Cabrera at third. I think Chavy was hurt.
It was not Orlando Cabrera at third. He was at
No, no,
shortstop.
at
He was in the
short.
lineup.
Orlando OC should have been at short.
Hmm.
Um, at third, was Chavy healthy then?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Holiday was getting like an IV. I think he was out. Jack Cuss, I think, was in right.
Hmm.
Ryan Sweeney in center.
Hmm.
Who the heck was in left? Was it Travis Buck?
It was Travis Buck.
And then DHing when might have been Garcia.
Yes, that is actually correct. You're actually the fastest to ever get this. The second fastest that has ever gotten it was Justin Nicolino. He's a former Miami Marlin, and he had the lineup card actually behind him. So
Oh, that's
that's
cheating.
so yeah, that's cheating. So, but that's actually the fastest ever somebody's ever gotten it. That's actually awesome. Now I do want to ask you this second question. In 2010, you were named an MLB All-Star at the age of 22. Did you? I want to ask you about your 2010 MLB All-Star experience in Anaheim.
It was like my debut. It was in Anaheim. I grew up in Oceanside, so it's 50-minute drive. It's actually probably easier to go to an Angels game than it is to a Padre game.
Hmm.
After they moved to Petco. So it was special. Like my debut, all my friends were there. The All Star game was same thing. Like all my family and friends got to go up, and that happened so fast. Like I think I listened to Mossy's interview, and it's just like it's just surreal, and you're there. And I was so young. I mean, that was what, geez, 15 years ago now.
Hmm.
You're just there, and you're like, I mean, like I that starting lineup I mentioned had a lot of guys, so I was kind of prepared for it after debuting with like all the dudes that I grew up watching. So I was kind of like, all right, felt like one of them. Yeah, but at the All Star game, it was just I was unlucky slash lucky because I pitched the start before the
Hmm.
break, so I
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about anything. There was no nerves, or I was just enjoying myself. But yeah, like just being in the clubhouse with all those dudes. I remember I think Ichiro did his speech that he always does.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just it happened so fast. It was like you're in and you're out, and then back to regular season, just grinding.
Now, I know nowadays a lot of MLB players opt out of the All-Star game due to the fact of, pitching a previous start before or a day before, a couple days before. So it's great. I mean, it's great to hear you still were part of the All-Star festivities, even though pitching the previous start before. And actually, it's funny you bring up Ichiro. I was actually watching Ichiro speeches right
Yeah.
before this, actually. So, and now I do want to ask you because you made the All-Star team while you were in Oakland in the early 2010s, and there's a very famous movie about the Oakland Athletics, something called Moneyball. and Billy Bean happened to be part of the organization at the time. And I do want to ask you, what's the most Billy Bean thing you saw while you were part of that Oakland Athletics organization? Did he ever trade somebody mid-game or just something random that you remember?
Not mid-game, but he's intense. Like I
Hmm.
remember we used to lift during the game when I first came up because I mean, it just makes sense. We get to watch the game on TV, different angle from the dugout, and get our
Hmm.
work in. And then I remember he would always be on a bike. I remember I was doing the leg press machine, and they like made an error or something, and a water bottle flies off the TV, and he's throwing it at the TV, screaming. I'm just like, just gonna keep trying to finish the set, and hopefully I'm invisible. He was intense, but yeah, he was. Yeah, they don't make GMs like that anymore. Just free gunning, like trading to trade. Like it was actually awesome because in 2011 they were filming it. Maybe it was 2010, but I remember going into the stadium like on a getaway day because I was pitching the next day or something, so I had to go in and play catch, and they were filming it, and they had like they had all the like they have the scoreboard. They have the old like you actually put the team names in like a little whatever, and they had like
Hmm.
Tampa Bay and they had like Montreal. Oh no, it wasn't. They had Montreal, and it was just like these old scores. And I think they did it accurately, where they filmed the actual game. They had the correct scores of what's going on in that game. And I remember up to the clubhouse from the dugout, Angelina Jolie was walking up and going out there. Phil, I remember seeing Jonah Hill walk across the infield, and they had all the extras, and they were screaming at Jonah Hill or whatever. And I was just like, I'm just gonna try and get some catch in the background, and then get on the team plane. It was really cool. And then we got to actually go to the premiere in Oakland.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, off day or a day game, and we got a limo with like all the dudes that were living in the area with me, and we went to the premiere. And my wife got a picture with Brad Pitt.
Wow.
I was hanging out with the guy from Jurassic Park. He was Hatterberg.
Oh, Chris Pratt. Chris
Yeah,
Pratt.
Brad. I was hanging out with him, and I was like, "Oh, you're in the movie? That's cool." And the next thing you know, he's a movie star. So it was really cool. Like during the premiere, I think I sat next to Philip Seymour Hoffman and whatnot. So it was a really cool experience. Being a movie guy too, like getting to be part of a premiere it was pretty special.
It's insane to hear that from a player standpoint who actually had like interactions with these movie stars and Billy Bean and a lot of MLB fans and baseball fans who watched Moneyball always wondered, like me personally, I always wondered what Billy Bean was like in person. So it's great to hear that from a guy who actually had personal interactions with him. Now, I do want to ask you, you after your tenure in Oakland, your first stint in Oakland, you played for 9 different MLB organizations, and your first big trade was to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Do you remember where you were when you got the call that you were being traded to Arizona?
Yeah, it was in San Diego. It was in Encinitas. We had a rental on the beach, which was insane. It was like a 4-bedroom house on the beach that was cheaper than what I was paying in Oakland or Walnut.
Mhm.
But yeah, I remember Billy Bean called me and he was super nice about it. And then
Mhm.
I just remember standing in the kitchen and then I was excited because I was like, they had just gone to the playoffs and I was like, this is cool. I was super excited. I got to hit.
Mhm.
And then I knew I was familiar with Arizona being like rookie ball there, spring
Yes.
training instructs there. So you're just super excited to go to a place that you know. Um, and then when you play there, you're so spoiled when you play there because
Mhm.
you don't have to move. Like we bought a house there. I think we closed on our house and moved in opening day of 2012. And then I didn't have to pack a bag other than the road trip because your
Mhm.
spring training is right there. They just moved out of Tucson. So everything was right there and like got to train at the complex, didn't have to find a gym, do all that. So it was just everything was so inclusive. It was a great experience.
Great to hear that you didn't have to move far because I've done about 30 plus interviews and a lot. Whenever I ask the question about being traded, they always say the biggest struggle is moving across the country. And I had a guy who formerly played for the Toronto Blue Jays, and he had a house in Canada, and he was talking about the whole visa passport situation. And yeah, it's great to hear that you didn't have to personally experience that. Now, for my next question, I did mention prior you played for 9 major league teams. Did you ever walk into a clubhouse and accidentally call the manager by the wrong name during your career, or do you have any like uh, funny trade moments that you could share for the viewers?
No. I mean, go back to what we were just talking about. I did as good as Arizona was. I
Mm-hmm.
got traded from Arizona to the Braves. I think it was like the last day of spring training, and
Mm-hmm.
I just hid from my wife. I adopted a rescue dog.
No.
She was mad because she's like, "What happens if you get traded?" I was like, "I'm not pitching good. I'm not getting traded." And she was pregnant, having morning sickness, and I got traded like 3 days after that to Atlanta.
Ooh.
And then I'm in Atlanta, like like I said, I was in Arizona for 3 years. Didn't have to pack up a bag more than 10 days. I was in Arizona, or went to Atlanta. Took a while to find. I was at the team hotel. Took a while to find an apartment. My wife and her stepdad were actually got like a not an RV, but like a bigger car to bring out all the dogs, and they were going to road trip.
Mm.
I shipped my car out. I ended up getting my car got there, and then like 2 hours later, I got released. So I asked the guy, I was like, "Can you just bring it back?"
Mm.
And then yeah, and then that was the worst as far as getting caught off guard and like just being so comfortable at home and
Mm-hmm.
rated. That was tough. Um, yeah, packing up the bag, like I felt like Arizona was my second home other than Oakland, and then you're somewhere for 3 years working, and then all of a sudden you're off. It was tough. Like not even to mention the travel, it was tough. But
I, I
I
was.
did when I got traded to the Braves though.
Mhm.
So you should mention that. I got traded there. I think like they were playing it. We opened in Miami. I stayed back so I could throw like in a rookie ball game to get up to like 3 or 4 innings. Met the team there, and then I didn't realize it was I just assumed it was a 7 o'clock opening night game. I think it was at 4, and I got to the clubhouse at like 2. So I'm just like the new guy, just walking in like I'm a salty vet, like 2 hours before game time. I'm like, oops.
I know how brutal. Trust me, when you said you got traded to Atlanta, I'm currently located about an hour south of Atlanta. So, and even travel just in Atlanta is very, it's brutal. It's brutal. And even from my place right now, it takes 30 minutes to get to a grocery store. So, I understand about, some of the travel, not as a ball player standpoint, but from,
No, it's
just
like
traveling in
I
general.
thought LA traffic was bad, and Atlanta gives us a run for its money.
Yeah. Atlanta's rough. Now, I do want to ask you this next question. Though you did not participate in or well play in the World Series, and I hate to ask this question as a Cardinals fan, but you did play for the Chicago Cubs during that 2016 season. How interesting and how wild was that 2016 season with the Chicago Cubs that you were a part of?
Uh, it was insane. I guess the year before got released by the Braves, minor leagues to the Dodgers,
Hmm.
got released by them, and then the Cubs signed me a minor league deal. Pitched really well in AAA out of the bullpen, got called up, and I actually was on the playoff roster that year, and that was exciting. And I wanted to go back. I told them like
Hmm.
I knew how good the team was. Like they had young, like Chris Bryant, Schwarber. They all just had like come up kind of, and I was like, they're winning the World Series next year, so like I want to be a part of that. So I basically handcuffed my agent with saying like I'm playing for the Cubs. Like if they want me back at all, I'm playing for them. Which contractually wise, I'm not going to get into it, but he's probably not happy with my decision.
Hmm.
But I got to play there, and it was just crazy. Like I was kind of like going in like bullpen long guy. somebody gets hurt, I might be the next guy up for the starter. Everybody was healthy the whole year, which
Hmm.
is crazy this day and age. Everybody
Hmm.
was just a stud. Like our team was just guys that say like we were better than everybody else, and we kind of knew it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was we hit a rough patch right before the All Star break, but we were, yeah, I mean, we're that's by far the best team I've maybe seen. Um, I mean, I guess the Dodgers now are pretty good, but it was pretty incredible how everybody stayed healthy. Minus, I guess Schwarber, but even he made a miracle comeback. And
Hmm.
yeah, the playoffs, it was kind of like I don't even know. It was just like let's just roll through these teams and just go out and played our game. We clinched really early, so it was like I was kind of worried about like you're not playing a competitive game in a while. I remember David Rossi would always say like, "We need this one" before we went out, and then after we clinched, somebody said that he's like, "No, we really don't." So I was like, I was worried about the whole relaxed style of play the last week or two of the season, but we came out, played really well. Cleveland just they played unbelievable and put us in a hole, but we came back, so it all worked out.
It's a little bittersweet for me personally I mean, it's great experience for you. I'm glad to hear you had a great experience, but it's a little bit bittersweet for me as a Cardinals fan. Actually, around the time I lived near the Chicago area during the 2016 season, and going to school the next day was very, very rough. They played "Go Cubs Go" throughout the speakers while I was walking to class. So I happened to be wearing a Cardinals jersey the next day to show my team pride. But it's great. It's great to hear, you had um, a good experience in Chicago. Now, you did mention before that you kind of dwindled between bouncing between a starter and a reliever during your major league career. At what point, what kind of like mentality or approach did you have towards that? About like being starter at one point and then reliever at another. Did you have like any sort of mindset um, balancing between that during your career?
Yeah, I would say when uh, I started like basically my whole career relieved when I wasn't pitching good, but like I
Hmm.
didn't have that reliever mentality. It was still like, try and fill out the zone, figure everything out. And then when the Cubs signed me in end of 15, I went there and I was just like, I'm just going to throw as hard as I can every pitch. And I
Hmm.
just tried to be as nasty as I could every single pitch. Like
Hmm.
first pitch curveball to the first guy I face, I don't care. Like there was no establishing anything. It was just I'm gonna grunt, throw the nastiest pitch I can, and then see what happens. Get P with my best stuff, and then I pitched good enough. Got called up in 15, and kind of carried over in 16, and then in 17 when that was the first time I was like had injuries. It was in 17, well, probably because I was starting and trying to pitch like a reliever, which
Hmm.
nowadays that's what starters do. I mean
Yeah.
they it's like they rather you go five shutout than 7 innings, 1 run or 2 runs. So it was just I was in that boat. I had Balsley and San Diego, the best pitching coach ever, and he was like, "Your curveball's really good." He got me throwing my curveball way more, and I was just trying to be nasty. I mean, says I was pitching to win, but like he's like, "You can strike dudes out." I'm like, "I've never been a strikeout guy." And he's like, "Throw your curveball." I'm like, "Okay," and then started striking guys out. I think it's probably the best I ever pitched was in San Diego as a starter, but kept getting hurt because I was letting it eat every pitch. So that will takes a toil on your body.
It's very interesting to hear that standpoint. And I actually kind of want to ask you your opinion on that. Because nowadays you see guys getting hurt left and right, throwing for super high velocity, and a lot of starting pitchers seem to have the mindset of from what I've seen from a fan's perspective, that throwing fast, throwing 100 plus is going to get you to where you're going. I kind of want to ask you your perspective on that. Do you think starting pitchers or pitchers should be throwing high velocity, or do you? I had a previous conversation with Jake McGee. He told me that he was a guy who utilized a curveball, utilized a sinker, wasn't really a fastball type of pitcher. Do you think pitchers should more lean towards the utilizing their arsenal and not just a fastball, so hitters can't, make contact?
It's tough to say. I mean, like that's how you move up. That's how you get evaluated. They look at swing strike percentage. All,
Mhm.
I mean, that's just how they look at it. So I mean, you look at a guy like Kyle Hendricks. Like, would even no team would even sign him if he wasn't Kyle Hendricks. Like,
Mhm.
he threw a bullpen for a team. Like, they'd be like, get out of here, go play Dolly, whatever. Like, even me, like, we always joked about, I don't know, five, maybe even 10 years ago. Geez, we're like, I was, fortunate enough to be a second rounder. I was like, what would you be now? I was like, I don't know, 20th rounder, like, the way guys are throwing, but like the
Yeah.
training's better. That's how they judge guys. I don't want to be like the old guy that's just bitter and says you got to pitch because I
Mhm.
understand how the game works now, but I guess it's easier to guys throw and they're in the labs and whatever. So they know how to throw hard. So like that's their max there. And then teams I think figure like he'll learn how to pitch once we get him.
Mhm.
And before it was like more of like, oh, this guy knows how to pitch. Let's draft him. He's really good. So it's like completely different. I mean, I get it. Like dudes throw hard for a reason. It's tougher to hit, every mile per hour harder you throw.
Mhm.
And then when I was coming out, or even as a kid, it was like curve, like don't spin it, don't do whatever. And then I realized like the curveball was like the one pitch I could throw in and not hurt my arm, which is crazy
Yeah.
because my dad never let me throw one. Didn't even throw one until 2010, which is probably why I pitched good that year. Didn't throw a curveball, and then like that was the one pitch in my career where I was like, I never threw it, and the more curveballs I threw, the better my arm felt, which is crazy. So guys, yeah, they go out their velo. I think it's getting more known that like there's certain pitches you think are bad, but they're not as bad. Guys do like the weighted ball drills. I never did any of that. I was like, I throw this baseball, the same exact one. I don't want to, because I was a field guy. I was like, I don't want to throw any other stuff to get zero point 0.3 miles per hour in my fastball. Like, I want to know what I'm doing with it. And I think that's not appreciated as much anymore, but there's so many good pitchers. You bring in the long guy now who's throwing 97. Like, why do I need you to go to 7 innings? We got
Mhm.
guys in the bullpen that are bringing the noise.
It's great. It's great to hear this from a major league pitcher standpoint because you see guys like Rich Hill who aren't known for being like fastball guys, and he's 45 years old, still playing in the big leagues nowadays. And again, a lot of people you talk about evaluating pitchers and like the progression of the game. I meant to ask Jake McGee this last interview, but I do want to ask you as a recently retired player. What are your thoughts about the ABS system being implemented in major leagues? Are you a fan of it or are you not? Because we saw a little glimpse of it during the All-Star game this past couple weeks.
Yeah, I think how they have it now, where you get a certain amount, it's not full, like there's no home plate umpire, just whatever. You get the challenge just like you do in, like, you know, safe out call. But I don't want it to be a thing because I came up liking, you get the umpire scouting report, you kind of, work the umpire a little bit,
Hmm.
do all that stuff. I love that. I love the human factor, but I get like how important this much could be, and I get it. But I personally love the human element of it, and I feel like the umpires are so good. Like if they took the K zone away on TV, I feel like the average fan would be wrong half the time. Like if
Yeah.
they didn't have the box, like the catchers are so good at framing it. Like if there wasn't, there's pitches where I think that they're way outside and they're not. There's pitches that are I think are strikes or like it's just it's tough and they're behind the plate and whatnot. And if you did like a full ABS, like I know for catchers, it's a huge thing, framing. Like
Yeah.
they even care about it, but they just catch every ball, just however, because it's so I don't know. But then I watched video before, and I'm like, that was a strike, and you get mad because you're watching your video, and you're like, that was a strike. Especially the sinker ball, there was enough times where I threw a really good sinker, and the catcher would kind of catch like this, or a curve ball that was nicked the bottom of the zone, and the catcher caught it low, and you're like, gosh, I wonder what happened. Like that could have changed my whole start. So I don't know. I love the game that I came up with, which didn't have any replay, but I get it. Like the game's exploded. Like
Hmm.
so I get both reasons. I think the challenge system is the best of both worlds, but I know if they do
Hmm.
that, eventually it'll be every ball and strike. Like that's just the next step to it'll be ABS only.
Yeah, I personally agree with you. I'm on the side of the human element. I like the human element side of the game. But there's a lot of pros and cons to it. I mean, you have the ABS system. I mean, you see like crucial playoff games. For example, in 2021, the Giants and Dodgers playoff game that sent the Giants home when he clearly didn't cross the plate. There's a lot of elements to the game that's being, I guess, you know, or it evolves.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
got
I remember being a Padre fan. I remember when Matt Holliday didn't touch home plate.
I
My
can't.
friends still bring it up, and I'm like, I don't know. He beat the throw, so you're safe. But they're like, he blocked it. No, I mean that's a whole other thing. You can't block the play. Like, there's so
Yeah.
many rules. Like, it's just crazy how the game's changed. I remember my last year in the big leagues with the Pirates. I was talking to on the bus ride, like entertaining guys, and nobody on the team realized that the Astros used to be in the NL Central. I'm like, how old am I? Like, it was a young team, but like, did you guys watch baseball growing up? Like, you didn't know the Astros used to be in the National League? It's crazy. I mean, it's just everything's going to change. Everything's going to keep changing. I get it. It's about money. It's about keeping you know, the product on the field. Like, we play for the fans, so give them what they want.
Yeah, I understand that point. And I knew me personally, I knew the Astros played in the NL Central again, grew up a Cardinals fan. So I
Yeah.
remember going to the Cardinals and Astros game. I remember when Hunter Pence was on the Astros. That feels like ages ago. And
Yeah, it was.
I'm yeah, I'm 21 years old, so I understand. But I have two more questions before we end off this interview. And you had a 13-year MLB career, again, recently retired, and you faced a lot of hitters during your MLB career. Was there ever one hitter that you just could not figure out? And who was the toughest hitter that you faced during your major league career?
Adrian Beltre. Like, I feel like I did okay with him at first, and then afterwards, it's it's just crazy how like it was Adrian Beltre and Freddie Freeman, and they both like it wasn't just me; it was the whole team. Like we used to call him Babe Freeman, and this is before he was Freddie Freeman, like the dude. This is like 2012 Freddie Freeman, and we're like, dude, this guy. Like, I throw him a heater up and in, he fouls it off. I throw him a sinker down and away, he fouls it off. I throw him a heater up and in, he hits a double down the right field line. I throw him a next changeup down and away, it's down the left field line for a double. You're just like, this dude's insane. And then Beltray, like, he went. I faced him with the Mariners, and I didn't think much of him. And then he went to the Rangers, and it's like, who is this guy? Like, absolutely insane. I mean, you've seen him hit a curveball on one knee. Like,
I have.
you're doing your scouting report, like, so don't throw a curveball in the dirt to him because he might have a homer. Like, it was tough. Um, he was, yeah, he had another year with the. I know he was great with the Dodgers because I was a Padre fan, so I remember him as a 19-year-old or whatever. But he
Mm.
was absolutely insane with the Rangers, like against our whole team. It was whoever owned us. It was the whole team, and then Robinson Cano, obviously, he
Yeah.
was another guy, and he was like a guy that like he just stood in the box, and you're like, he's looked so comfortable. Like I don't know if I have anything for you. He was just that relaxed like feeling, and then we just crush balls. So I would say those two, and then Ramen Cano. Obviously, stuff happened later in his career, but you know it happens.
It does happen, and it's great to hear those. It's great to hear those notable names. I mean, obviously Freddie Freeman, a close to 300 batting average throughout his career, and obviously Adrian Beltre, a recent Hall of Fame inductee. So it's I couldn't imagine. The only reason I could imagine facing those guys is playing MLB The Show. So it's
Yeah, I
great
mean,
to.
I'm trying to think of like a off the wall name of a nobody that owned me. I'm sure there's tons of them, but I just remember those two because you face their, everyday guys. You face them enough. But those, yeah, those two were like, do I just walk this guy? But like, they're on a good team where you can't, you're facing, walk him and face Josh Hamilton, or you walk Freddie Freeman and face
Mhm.
McCann, like Chipper Jones, like, yeah, I got to start thinking about who like really, who did Eduardo Escobar. The first two times I faced him, he hit two home runs off me. So he had a really good run for a bit.
Was a big Minnesota Twins legend. I actually have a couple of his rookie cards. I actually have your rookie card as well. So
Nice.
I collect a lot of cards. Now I do have a final question for you before we wrap up this interview because we do have 4 minutes left remaining in this meeting. And I love asking this question to former major leaguers or current ball players. For a guy who had an illustrious career like you, 13 years in the major leagues, what is some advice you would give a young ball player starting out who's looking to make the majors or just be a pro ball player? What advice would you give to them?
Number one is have fun.
Hmm.
Number two is like, especially being retired, or I mean, I was basically retired for the last 3 years.
Hmm.
Like it's tough. I mean, even getting back in the game's tough. So like, life's hard,
Hmm.
and you can put in your hard, like it's going to take a lot of hard work. So you can put it in doing something you love, or put it in doing something you don't love. So if you love baseball, love the love the grind, like love working out, love all that stuff, because like it goes away. I mean, it really does. And like I hated, like in high school, running until you throw up, basically. And you look back, like that was good for me because it prepared me for like in pro ball. You didn't do that. You could just get fined if you mess up. Before it was just like, we had to run for every mental or physical error we made. You had to run hills and stuff, and we hated it, like our whole team, but we bonded around that, just grinding it out, and you know, working hard and having fun with it. Like there's so many good dudes in baseball too. Like you just meet so many good people that are in the same boat. So you just find like you just form that bond, especially like the hard workers will, kind of group together and yeah, just have fun and enjoy how hard it is. Like it's hard. Like joke about it. Working hard. Joke about how hard you have to work. Enjoy having to put in the hard work. I think that's the biggest thing. Just having fun with it and realizing life's not easy and baseball's not easy. So I think playing baseball so much as I did growing up, it would have prepared me for whatever I was going to do if baseball didn't work out.
Great to hear that from a guy who had a 13-year MLB career. And again, in a lot of occupations, it's not always about the destination, it's about the journey. But again, that is all the time we have today. Mr. Cahill, Trevor Cahill, thank you so much for your time. This will be up in about 30 minutes, and I hope to reconnect in the future. And I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you have a great rest of your trip in Arizona.
You too. Appreciate it.